Hey you guys, this is Scott. I'm here at the kitchen table in the apartment that I stay in, about 10 minutes away from the production facility. Working from here today, trying to get caught up on some messaging. And there were a couple items here that I saw, thought it might be kind of fun to share and let you know kind of what the design process was like. First thing that I did was I got a sketchbook, some pencils, and some erasers. I had some basic ideas about the form and function that I wanted, some basic features, and I knew in my mind how the hinge was going to work and what it looked like. But the real trick was to get something on paper that I can convey to a CAD designer so that we can get this thing into a computer and cut into some tooling to make some coolers. With the sketches in my sketchbook, as well as my experience from previous product design work, I put together a 65-page product design document. And then I needed somebody to get my design into CAD. That's when I got hooked up with Dango Design. They're a team out of Idaho. I met them through some Minnesota connections, off-road community. They were doing some design work for an elite King of the Hammers team. So I knew that they knew their stuff. But I knew that they were the right people. When I submitted my design to them, I said, hey, can you make a cooler? They said, of course. I gave them that document and they came back and they were really excited about it. It was a lot of fun working with them. They honored my original vision, and they also had some great feedback, definitely made it a better cooler. So after they did that, we basically then had to take the CAD design and we had to submit it for tooling feasibility. Basically what that means is that the toolers need to look at it, and they need to say, can we make this tool? Are there any undercuts that we can't do? What kind of modifications do we need from you? They didn't have any modifications for us, which is a real testament to the design work as well. There was two things on this cooler that were real important to me that I wanted to be able to touch and feel before we cut tooling. Basically, when you cut tooling, that's a pretty big deal. It's pretty expensive to make a tool, and to make changes after that are pretty difficult. So we did what I'd call a breadboard prototype. We basically got on the mill, and the two elements that I wanted to see the hinge cycle, and I wanted to see the ergonomics. So we built this, and the hinge worked great. This thing's a lot heavier than a cooler, but the hinge cycled through great. The handles, wanted to make sure that it was real comfortable holding it both like this, as well as when you're carrying it with a buddy like this. Made sure that it was big enough to fit big fat hands and real skinny hands, or whatever kind of hands anybody has. So we did this. We were real happy with how this turned out. After the prototype proved the hinge cycling and the ergonomics, then it was time to cut a tool. That was pretty exciting. What happened after we cut a tool was the first time that we saw a shell come out of the roto mold. First time we kind of saw what the cooler's actually going to look like. We had to make a lot of adjustments, mostly to the procedure to adjust kind of some of the cycle times, the temperatures, as well as some adjustments to the tooling. Where do we put the heat sinks and everything? The goal is to have a very uniform, straight part with uniform wall thicknesses. Once that was done, then we were able to actually make a cooler. This was pretty much the first beta cooler. There's some adjustments that we've made since this cooler. You can see we fooled around with some gray straps, a little bit different badge we played with. I had to test this bottle opener quite a bit, make sure that that worked just right. And this cooler has a texture all over the cooler, which I thought was going to be a nice look, which it is. Sort of a nice satin finish. Helps hide some blemishes, but the problem with that is that it really made it hard to clean up. So kind of had this cooler out, trying to figure out what's it like to use this cooler, what's it feel like. And the one thing that kind of bugged me was it was tough to clean. So we ended up going with polished finishes on all the sides of the cooler. It requires a little bit more in the assembly stage, as well as some QC checks to make sure that it really looks nice when you get it, which it does, and it's going to be easier to clean. So hopefully this was helpful for you, or interesting, and look forward to sharing more. Hopefully get into the injection shop, show you how some of these drain plugs are made. And we'll see you then.